A mother openly grieves for her murdered son in West Garfield Park.
I want my baby! I want my baby! They killed my baby!
EMS Plan 1, 1801 was 51st Street for multiple gunshot victims.
Emergency medical technicians respond after 13 people, including a 3-year-old boy, are shot in the back of the yards.
We have a total of 10 adults and 1 3-year-old. I'm going to start getting IRs for you. Jesus Christ, 10-4.
You say my mama, I said your mama. You say my mama, I said your mama.
In Woodlawn, concerned citizens rally after Jonila Watkins, a 6-month-old baby, was fatally shot while her father was changing her diaper in a car.
Y'all know my brother back up. Y'all some bitches on Johnny Gray.
They gon' let us see.
Oh, Johnny, fuck that. He supposed to be in the motherfucking hospital.
And in North Lawndale, a neighborhood erupts after police killed a man who pointed a gun at an officer.
Fuck, they got my brother backed up. How they got him backed up?
That's some trigger happy shit though, man. I'm serious, man.
He
That boy shouldn't be gone for no shit like this. They do black boys like this, too. They figure that they ain't about shit no way.
This was Chicago in 2013, a place where violence was seemingly commonplace, giving the city a national and international reputation as Chirac, a lawless town ruled by the gun.
In my neighborhood, I'm talking about where I live. The other night, and I live in a decent neighborhood, 6 gunshots. I hear of people, my co-workers, they've got relatives who are being killed left and right.
What do you got back right here? Pack, 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 pack.
Stuff like this go down all the time in the street?
Man, do it. It was like this every day.
For real?
Every day it's like that over here. No, it's time to move from over this block. You will down here. It's all messed up, so everything over here, man.
So you see crime tape all the time?
Yeah, you know, somewhat personal with some cats, you know, somewhat personal with some guys, it's personal. So, you know, it's all messed up, man. You can't run from death, death's gonna happen. It ain't meant death gonna happen, you can't run from death, I don't care where you go to.
But that's the perception, not the reality.
Several people in across the street from this location being out and disturbing residents.
The reality is there has been a dramatic decline in shootings and homicides in 2013. The city's homicide rate will hover around the 400 mark, some 100 fewer than the 506 murders recorded in 2012, when Chicago had the most murders of any city in this country. A Yale University criminologist says that Chicago is on track to have its lowest homicide rate since 1967 and its lowest violent crime rate since 1972. Police have altered their approach at fighting these violent crimes.
Chicago Police Department has allowed its officers to work on their days off. They have the option of working their days off in some of the most violent areas of the city as needed.
We've also been able to identify the people who are most likely to be involved in homicide in the city of Chicago, and we've prioritized them, and we're concentrating on the top 400 of that group. Going out and making cases against them, making sure that if a warrant pops on them, we arrest them immediately.
But with the good news comes the sobering reality that gun violence is still a major problem in Chicago. That is especially true in distressed South and West Side neighborhoods like North Lawndale, Englewood, Roseland, West Pullman, and East Garfield Park.
She was in the car at a stoplight on 73rd and King Drive. Someone pulled up alongside of the car. You know, they say the young men that was in the car was yelling out the window. Everybody in the car got shot. Everybody. My daughter was the only one that died. I remember cussing. I remember falling on my knees, crying to God, saying, please God, don't let this be true. Not my baby. The shooter don't understand. He don't understand that he not only took my daughter, he took my life. He took the lives of my sons. It's so much violence, so many children dying, so many mothers crying. And these young men, they don't understand. They don't understand what they're doing. They're not only, it's more than just one life they're taking. They're not only taking the victims, they're taking their lives as well. Because one day they have to stand before judgment.
There are numerous reasons cited for violence in the city. The easy access to guns, where even convicted criminals have no problems purchasing weapons. The leaders of many large street gangs are now either dead or in prison, and there's now less control over rank-and-file members than in years past. Single-parent homes, often substandard education, and lack of positive mentors for at-risk youth are also cited as problems.
A lot of times when we talk about crime and public safety, the tendency is to look at what happens on the front end as it relates to law enforcement and police involvement. And really we have to look at the whole system. We have to look at what's happening as children are very young. We have to look at the school system. If there is involvement in the justice system, then we have to carry it all the way through, not just to what might happen in detention and jails, but we also have to look at what happens afterwards and what resources are available after people come back to their communities.
You have to have economic alternatives to what's happening in the communities. In most African-American communities, especially poorer communities, the only way you make money is through what they call the black market or the down low economy. So it's everything from selling bootleg DVDs to selling loose squares to kicking down doors, breaking in somebody's house, to snatching the iPhones. That's how people exist. And until you can provide an alternative to that, you don't have the moral authority to tell these young people, don't do it.
Even warm weather in the summer plays a role.
It being hot out doesn't make people shoot each other, but we get a lot more multiple victim incidents because people are congregating more and there's more potential for conflict because more people are out socializing.
You see your mama!
And in the summer, raw emotion is often displayed at crime scenes, like this incident in North Lawndale in June, where an armed man was killed by police.
They shot him inside. He running. They shot him inside the car.
What side? What car?
They car in the Tahoe. They shot. He was running and they shot him while they was in the car.
My brother didn't know what was going on. He trying to get out of the situation that he ain't want to be in. I know what a drive-by is. I ain't slow. That's when somebody shoot out their car at you and keep driving. That's what they did to my brother.
We have one angel that, I'm not going to say didn't make it because we're gonna keep the spirit here. This message is to that public enemy that took that baby. And it's personal with us. And it's personal with anybody that want to keep quiet and don't want to turn him in.
And the victims of these crimes seem to be younger, often little children.
We were coming from a family function and I seen friends that I hadn't seen in a long time. And they were traditionally, that's where they go to pop their fireworks. You would never think for a moment that it being in the park playing with your kids that you got to worry about them being shot.
What do you tell your kids when they ask you questions about scenes like this? How do you explain it to them?
They gotta just stop and pray. Everything in God's happen. Everything in God's hands is just everything's happening for a reason, I guess. Just we have to stay out the way. We play in the house from now on.
As 2013 ends, families and friends of those lost to gun violence are trying to pick up the pieces after this year of tragedy.
I'm in the first quarter, for the last quarter of the first 12 months of my life without my daughter.
The mother of Hydea Pendleton, that honors student gunned down in broad daylight in the Southside Park last January, has become a spokeswoman against the proliferation of firearms.
People have come to me and they've asked me, it's been time now, so how you doing? And the real fact of the matter is, I'm still on the hospital floor. I walk down the street practically every day and someone taps me and say, aren't you that girl mother? See, that's the difference in the profile. There are some people that get to mourn privately, and you get to choose when you want to remember and choose when to forget. Like, I have to respect that people remember always.
It's sad not being able to see like all my friends here, but I know I'm gonna make like new friends and stuff. It's just I like the ones I have now.
Meanwhile, one of Haidia's friends has moved away to a Massachusetts boarding school, where she is still inspired by her lost companion.
So her name is Kaylin Jones. She's 16 years old. She was a classmate and good friend of Haidia Pendleton, and she was there when Haidia was shot. She held Haidia's hand as Haidia lay on the street. And since that's happened, she has gotten accepted into boarding school. So she attends Deerfield Academy in Western Massachusetts. It's a really elite, high-achieving boarding school, and she started there in early September.
In Chicago, it feels like everyone has like similar perspectives because we all come from, you know, urban setting, but it's not the same here because a lot of these kids, like, I don't want to like knock them, but like they don't know what like it means to really like struggle in any sense of the word. I think I have like 2 Polaroids that I really like that were of me and Haidia, but I'm gonna leave them here.
January 29th is the day that Haidia Pendleton died. So when the 29th of every month rolls around, she kind of has a different reaction to it. Either she's able to get up and go about her day, or on some days it just paralyzes her.
Some days when I wake up on the 29th, it's like really bad and I like can't get out of bed and I'm crying all day. And then sometimes I think like I'm not being sad enough, and then I always go back to thinking like it's probably my fault because she like wasn't gonna come to the park that day, and then I was like, no, come on, we'll go like to Potbelly's later or whatever, like come to the park with me. And then some people I'm just like, oh, like I just like lost my friend this year, you know, like I lost my best friend this year. I don't like say like, oh, like my best friend got shot, or oh, like I was with my best friend and then she got shot, and like, oh, I like held my best friend's hand like while she was dying. Like I just kind of keep it vague.
Why is that, you think?
Because then if you get there, like then you get questions that like they may sound like really stupid to you, but then like it's just because of like where they're from. Like someone's like, oh, like was she in a gang or something like that, and then I'm like, oh my god, like no, I really don't want to do this. I was just like, I'm gonna do it like for her, and like she, like if she could, she would probably apply too. So whenever I'm like feeling discouraged or like I feel like I'm like alone, I always like remember that I was like, I know you're with me, and like I just always like hear her voice like when I check my grades or like I do good on tests, and she's just like, oh, I'm so proud of you, K-Bear. I'm like, thanks.
So what attracted you to him? And I mean, what
We
was...
used to be on the tumbling team together in grammar school.
Any idea then why or who would want to hurt him or what?
No, because I never really asked Robert too much about what he was doing.
Erin Wells prepares for Christmas without the father of her 5 children, Robert Douglas. He was killed in the Gresham neighborhood in June.
The last 6 months, they have been a roller coaster. There are good moments, there are bad moments. Sometimes my kids are good, sometimes they have their bad moments where they cry. I still would like to get out of the city, but you know, they gave me a promotion at work and a little bit more money. So that's what I'm clinging to right now. We're trying to have a regular holiday. If one of my kids isn't acting out at school, like Kyrie, who told his teacher he wanted to die. So now they want him to go see a psychiatrist. Robert just wanted, I don't know what it was. He just wanted to be the center of attention. Why he wanted to be in the street when he didn't have to be. I think he made more money cutting hair than being in the street. But he just didn't want to stand on his feet all day. I became a parent at 17. That didn't mean I just gave up and said, you know what, I'm just going to be on welfare my whole life and I'm just not going to do anything with myself. No, the second I saw my child, I said, you know what, I got to get myself together. I got to make sure I finish school. I got to make sure I go to college. I got to make sure I get a job. I got to make sure I dress you, I can feed you, I can take care of you. With the other parent or by myself.
I have a 17-year-old that's locked up on his very first drug case. While he's in jail, I lose my 3rd oldest son that's right behind him. 17 and 16. I have one in jail, and I have one that just passed away.
Joseph Brewer lost his 16-year-old son, Jojo, in a shooting incident at the Trumbull Park Housing Project on the far south side in July. Jojo left behind a daughter who was almost 1 year old.
We met, him and his friends was real goofy. They used to like to crack jokes on people. And I was the new girl, so they used to always pick on me. We had so much in common. Like, we both used to like to dance. We was together 24/7, literally. It's just saying, I just never imagined that a child in my home would die at the hands of some uncaring adults. And it was just an act of evil, just pure evil. I don't even know why they would pick him out of all people. Because like I said, he got along with everybody.
Now the Brewer family has moved to the Bronzeville neighborhood, where they hope to find peace.
We was going to actually move before the death of my son. The death of my son is what put the fire to us to move even faster. Every time I walk out my door, I don't see that same pole, and I don't have them images flashing through my head of me standing down there with my son right there on the ground. So, you know, that's a plus for me also. Right now, we're in the healing stages of just trying to get all the bad past us right now where we can move forward on with our life. Christmas is gonna be totally different, just like Thanksgiving was totally different. You know, it took a big part of our family away from us. They took a major part of our child away from us.
I can't hear him talk. I can't hug him, you know, and say Merry Christmas. I can't ask him, you like this? You know, or what you want for Christmas. His birthday is in February, a month after Christmas. And I can't even go and make plans for his birthday.
No matter how good your kids go to school, you keep them out of trouble, trouble will always find a way to nudge itself in.
In Little Village, the mother of 14-year-old Michael Orozco, killed in an apparent gang dispute in April, is coming to terms with her son's death.
Me and my husband feel like it's like we let him down. And there's that piece that is never gonna be back in place.
When you heard that Michael died, and you first heard that police were labeling him as a gang member, how did you react?
I was mad because they just pull a label on him. They don't care. For them, it's just another gangbanger in the streets. I was involved with my kids. That's why I'm a stay-at-home mom. My husband works. So you cannot tell me that, oh, I don't put attention to my kids, because I do. I don't know. A lot of people, even the priests, have told me, you never know if that was his time. Do I believe that? There's times that I do, there's times that I don't. The only thing that I could say as a parent, because I've been through it, try to find out more what your children are doing. If they're there, check on them. Because even in school, when they go to school, you don't know what they're doing.
Things have been hard, but times are getting harder. Bullets are getting closer. God seems so much further. Hope that's in even offer. I've seen things unheard of.
And in the Stony Island Park neighborhood on the south side, family members are still grieving over Deontay Maxwell, one of the first in the family to go away to college.
He was shot and killed May 31st, basically in front of his family. His uncle was throwing a surprise party for his girlfriend. Most of the family, including his mother, were there at the party. And my understanding is that some of the neighborhood kids, possibly gang members, came up and said, we want to get in the party. And his uncle and Deontay went outside and told them that this was not a block party, this was a family party.
I wanted to throw the party for my girlfriend. So that came about, you know, that gave a reason for Deontay to be over there. I knew the guy that shot him from high school. We didn't communicate much, but right here, where you at, that's how close the bullets were. It was so loud, so strong. You know how you feel like the thump of pretty much the bullet leaving the gun. You feel the thump of it. Pow, 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 pow.
Is that something that's still in your head?
Yeah. I still think about what could have happened if he didn't come, if he wasn't there, if I took the bullet, or if somebody else got hit, or if he just shot in the air. It's a lot of things that come up. At the end of the day, it's like, damn. What if you died in my house? This is my first house. Like, it's not an apartment, it's a house. In my first house, the closest person I have to me, like brother-wise, passes away like in front of me.
I kept seeing him being a story in the news. Prom king gets killed. I'm like, damn. I could see these headlines. Then after we got past that, he graduated. And I was nervous from the time he graduated to the time he went to college. I'm like, oh my God, that'll be the headline. Kid on his way to college gets gunned down. And then he would say little things like, right, he would always say, well, I could be dead tomorrow. And even in the moment when it happened, I knew Deontay was at all those people. It was about 70 people standing outside. But I knew my son was going to get shot, and I knew my son was going to get killed. And I remember standing back and looking at him. And I just remember, oh, you mean right now, huh? Right now, God? And that's how I felt. Like, it was a surprise, but it wasn't.
And I think that's this whole problem of Deontay being murdered is because those boys didn't have anything to do. So they were going to come in and create problems for kids that don't look and dress and act like them. I think you're a target. If you're not gangbanging, then you get picked on because they're trying to make you be in a gang. It's much different than it was. I just listened to my children and I listened to other people's children. And it's nothing like it was when I was growing up. Oh, happy birthday, Gina! Happy birthday, Gina!
Then there is Kim Love, who lost 2 children to gun violence in North Lawndale, Quintana in May and Alfonso in September.
It's the last photo that she took. This is the date of her shooting, of her death.
Quintana Love was shot during a prom party last May in the West Side. And it's tragic because clearly this was some family celebration, and they were drinking out in the open, and somebody came in. We believe it was more than one shooter that came in and just sprayed the people that were there. 4 months later, her oldest brother, Alfonso Love, was also shot, only 2 blocks from his house, from his mother's house, and about 4 blocks east of where Quintana was shot.
Inasmuch as it has pleased the Almighty God in His wise providence to remove from this world the soul of Brother Alfonso Love, we therefore commit his body to the earth.
This hurts. This hurts real hard and real bad. My soul is damn near destroyed. Okay, because of this, I lost my 2 oldest children. I have lost 2 angels in my life.
Kim Love has 3 children. Her youngest, I believe his name is Stanley, he is in prison right now. In fact, he went to prison a couple of weeks before Quintana was shot. She thinks that the same people who shot her daughter shot her brother, her oldest son too.
I gotta be strong because I do have 1 child left in this world. Okay, I have 1 child left in this world. And the guys that did this to me, I would never in my life wish for this to be happening to their parents. You hear me knocking? Don't show mama up here. It needs to
stop. It needs to stop. And these guys need to think about, do I want my parents and my family to go through what this lady is going through right now? No. You would never want your mother and your family to feel what I'm feeling. Get him, Gina!
These South and West Side families struck by tragedy are examples of the inequities involved when it comes to gun violence in Chicago.
Well, I mean, I think overall, anyone as a resident of Chicago, all of us want to live in safe communities, and we all want to see a decrease in crime. And we have to continue to make sure that all communities can feel as safe as another. And that's not going to be just through law enforcement. It's not going to be just through the criminal and juvenile justice system. It's going to continue to require an investment in communities to create strong, vibrant communities where businesses want to invest, where there are good schools, where there are just opportunities for people, both those who have never touched the justice system directly, but also those who have. And that's how we're going to see the kind of public safety that we want to see in communities all across the city.
Once you live in a space that the kind of balance between what's working and what isn't working is tipped in the negative direction, those are the messages that people are starting to absorb, that this is as good as it gets. And so I think there is that added dimension of dehumanization that can happen, the kind of depressive element that this is not a good place to be. Violence is a public health issue, and that if we respond to violence as we respond to other kinds of health concerns, that we can turn the tide on violence.